Ambassador Sarah Chen had been dead for exactly 47 hours when the Terran Assembly convened an emergency session. The holographic footage had spread across every human colony within the first 6 hours, broadcasted by the Valdran Empire itself as a demonstration of their absolute authority over the younger species of the galaxy. The execution had been public, theatrical, and deliberately humiliating. The Valdran Emperor himself had presided over the ceremony in the Grand Plaza of their capital world, surrounded by representatives from a dozen species who had learned long ago not to question the Empire's justice. Sarah had been accused of espionage, a charge as fabricated as it was convenient. Her real crime had been refusing to bow. In the assembly chamber on Earth, holographic representatives from Mars, Europa, Titan, and the outer colonies materialized around the circular table. Defense Minister Kumar's jaw was set in a hard line as he pulled up the tactical displays. Foreign Secretary Williams looked pale, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped her datapad. "The Valdran expect us to accept their apology," Williams said, her voice hollow. "They've offered to send a formal regret for what they call an unfortunate misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding," General Okonkwo repeated, his voice devoid of emotion. The African Federation's representative had served in 3 colonial conflicts. He had seen war. But this was different. They executed our diplomat on fabricated charges and broadcast it across the galaxy. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a message. Secretary General Morrison stood at the head of the table, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of Earth rotating behind him. For 30 years he had guided humanity's cautious expansion into a galaxy that viewed them as newcomers, primitives who had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. Every decision had been measured, diplomatic, careful not to offend the older species who had divided the stars among themselves millennia ago. "They believe we'll accept it," Morrison said quietly. "Every species does. The Kresh accepted it when the Valdran executed their trade minister. The Solari accepted it when an entire delegation disappeared. The galaxy has learned that the Valdran Empire does what it wishes, and the price of resistance is extinction. Then the galaxy hasn't met humanity," Admiral Zhang said from her position commanding the 5th Fleet near Proxima Centauri. Her image flickered slightly from the distance. "Sarah Chen was my friend, Mr. Secretary General. We went through the academy together. She chose diplomacy because she believed in building bridges." Zhang's expression hardened. "I chose the military because I knew we'd eventually meet someone who only understands force." The chamber fell silent. Every person present understood what hung in the balance. The Valdran Empire commanded resources from 10,000 worlds. Their fleets numbered in the hundreds of thousands. They had subjugated species far older and more advanced than humanity. By every logical calculation, a war with the Valdran was suicide. Minister Kumar activated the tactical display. Red markers flooded the hologram, representing Valdran military assets. Blue markers showed human positions, pitifully sparse by comparison. "If we do this," Kumar said, "we need to understand what we're facing. The Valdran have numerical superiority of approximately 500 to 1 in capital ships. Their energy weapons are more advanced. Their shields are stronger. In a conventional engagement, they will destroy us." "Then we don't fight conventionally," Okonkwo said, leaning forward. "The Valdran have spent 10,000 years as the apex predator. They've forgotten how to fight an enemy that refuses to die." Morrison looked around the table, meeting each representative's eyes. He saw anger, grief, and something else, a cold determination that seemed to emanate from humanity's collective consciousness. Perhaps it was genetic memory from their species' violent history, or perhaps it was simply the accumulated fury of being treated as lesser for too long. "Dr. Reeves," Morrison addressed the science advisor who had been quietly observing. "What's the status of the Prometheus protocol?" Reeves straightened, his academic demeanor suddenly sharp. "Operational, sir. We've successfully tested the quantum displacement warheads on 3 uninhabited systems. The results were comprehensive. The Prometheus protocol had been humanity's insurance policy, developed in secret over 20 years of expansion. While older species had refined their existing weapons technology to near perfection, humanity had approached warfare from a different angle. They had asked not how to make better weapons, but how to make weapons their enemies couldn't defend against. "The displacement warheads ignore conventional shielding," Reeves continued. They don't destroy matter, they relocate it, preferably into the heart of a nearby star. And the Reaper drones? Admiral Zhang asked. Fully deployed across 17 sectors, Colonel Vance answered from military intelligence. The Valdrin don't scan for autonomous weapons platforms because none of the other species use them. They consider AI warfare distasteful. A grim smile crossed his face. We consider survival paramount. Morrison stood in silence for a long moment, the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders. Sarah Chen had been more than a diplomat. She had been a symbol of humanity's better nature, their hope that words could triumph over violence. The Valdrin had killed that hope as surely as they had killed her. I need to hear it from each of you, Morrison said. Are we united in this? One by one, the representatives responded. Some spoke eloquently about principles and justice. Others simply said yes. But the message was unanimous. Humanity would not bow. Morrison took a breath and activated the emergency broadcast system. His image would now appear on every human device, every colony, every ship across human space. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, he began, his voice steady. 47 hours ago, Ambassador Sarah Chen was murdered by the Valdrin Empire. They expect us to accept their hollow apologies and continue as subjects grateful for their tolerance. They believe we are like every other species they have dominated, that we will choose survival over dignity. He paused, letting his words sink in across light years. They are mistaken. As of this moment, a state of war exists between humanity and the Valdrin Empire. We did not choose this path, but we will walk it to its end. To the Valdrin and all who watch, humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive, and humanity does not kneel. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Admiral Zhang's voice carried a cold promise across the void. For Sarah Chen, for humanity, let's show them what happens when you execute our diplomats. Across human space, warships powered up their drives, weapons platforms activated, and in 1,000 hidden locations, autonomous systems began their approach vectors toward Valdrin space. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their numbers. It was their absolute unwillingness to accept extinction quietly. The Valdrin had wanted to send a message with Sarah Chen's death. Humanity was about to send one back, written in fire across the stars.